Welcome to a brand new episode of the Untold. Today is going to be a very special episode because we have engineer Humoud Alenizi, who is a very, respected individual in his field, and he's going to be talking to us about urban humanization, which is a really new term for me personally.
I wasn't aware that was the term, but I am familiar with the concept. It's about making spaces more comfortable for the people living in the city.
Yeah.
Like I think both you and I have experience living abroad, where it was easy to go outside and walk and find a lot of things nearby. Whereas in Kuwait, you have to drive to a lot of places in order to enjoy the beauty the country has to offer.
Yeah, I think our experiences may be a little bit different because I was studying in the United States, and there, if you're trying to go for somewhere at the end of the road, you're gonna take a car, right? It's way worse there. They don't have parkings, they don't have anything. So my experience was vastly different. But yeah, this concept of humanization of the environment, the infrastructure, the building, sounds really intriguing to me, especially as someone who likes long walks and everything.
Same. I love walking, so to be able to have more spaces in Kuwait where you can easily just go outside and walk without thinking about, oh, I need to drive here or go there, especially in the summer where for me it's too hot. I know you prefer the heat, I think,
Yeah.
but I like Kuwait in the winter more because I find you can do more stuff outside. So with that, I do think our guest is going to explain to us how Kuwait is working on this project.
Yeah, and with that in mind, we are going to take a break before that happens, before we have him here, so stay tuned. And we are back, so thank you for tuning in to The Untold. First, I do want to welcome you, Humoud Alenizi, for joining us.
Thank you for this interview. I'm happy to be here.
It's wonderful to have you. And I want to ask, you've been pushing for this idea of urban humanization. And would you be able to explain to the viewers in simple terms what that is?
Sure. The concept of humanizing city, it's a new concept. It's related to put the people first before car or before building or before everything. Usually or before, when they design city for practicality, the need of people. So they focus before on the building, streets, parking lots, and these kind of things. And after that, sometimes they realize that we give so much for the cars, and our city become car-dependent city. Everything, when we design the city, we allocate so much spaces for the car and highways and parking lots, and we allocate less to people and pedestrian. So the concept now come to the picture, and there are a lot of name of that concept. They call it 15-minute city or 5-minute city. That we make our city more livable and more human friendly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do love how, and this is something I noticed, like personally, when I was traveling, some cities when I went to, in Europe, I'm talking, when I was a kid, they were like cities with a lot of traffic, a lot of cars, a lot of stuff. And then some of those cities, I'm talking about, in Italy specifically, and some of them in, I believe it was Germany. Now the same cities, because they blocked, traffic, they changed those roads into walkways, into bike lanes. And so when you actually go, it's like it's an entirely new city, even though it's the same buildings, right? It's the same shops, it's the same, European weather you're used to like 15, 20 years ago. But now the city feels more alive, and just gives you to show how much cars and roads are effectively, destroying our environment in a very ugly way.
Sure. In Europe, UK, as you said, Germany, there are so many streets locked down and transformed from a street to a walkway.
Is this the humanization?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is the humanization. So that humanization, if we can say it, that the environment, or let's say the city, has to be safe for walking, especially for special people like elderlies and children and women also. So from environment, safe from traffic, and safe from even weather. So to make this concept also to encourage walking and to make the city more walkable and more livable, it has to be, the walking has to be worth to walk. So we are talking about third places, attraction, retail, business. So they mix use residential and retail as well to make the experience of walking very interesting. And also it has to be more convenient. That means straight walkways, there is no curve, and also seating, shade, all these kind of things that make the walking experience more comfort and more convenient. Also, we need to bring people together.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to bring people together. So people will gather for some activities. So sometimes if you rely on that in the traditional way of designing your city, depending on blocks, buildings, and streets, you never know that even people, they don't know their neighbors, because the style of life become either inside a concrete building or inside a car. Okay, so going from home to work to home, inside the car, inside concrete building, and actually you are not living, you are staying in the city, but you are not living in the city. Okay, living in the city is something else. So it's something that if we apply it and we encourage it, I think it will enhance the quality of life in our city.
I agree completely. And now that you guys mentioned how it is abroad, I do recall from a lot of my times traveling or even living abroad, how even though there's a lot of cars, a lot of very modern buildings and everything, there's little spaces in every area that people can group up together, especially children. They can meet and play in a park somewhere, or people can walk and meet different people. I used to know everybody who lived on my street before. I used to know the grocers, the pharmacists, everyone knew each other. So there was a sense of community that I think we've lost a little bit.
Yes.
Just because of how everywhere here you have to drive to it, which is great in some ways, but as you said, to make it more friendly towards the people, that's something that I think is a great thing that you're trying to do.
Yeah, actually, there is a concept called third place, and we need to invest in third places. Third places is the place that is not your work and not your home.
Oh.
So we're talking about parks, we're talking about general or public libraries, we're talking about maybe cafes, retail, any gathering center that people in the neighborhood can go and gather there. Investing in third places will add value to the community and make people come to each other and make people meet. So if you see your experience now, yeah, let's take about more practically. We pray every day, okay? And every one of us going to the mosque. Our experience walking to the mosque, is it safe or not? Yani, I tried my best to walk to the mosque without walking on the asphalt on the street. You cannot do that. So there is no proper walkway or sideway that taking you from this point to that point. Now the new city standard focus on that. There is walkway for pedestrian, and if we reach a street, there should be a proper crossing. Yeah. Okay. So we see that only if you cross nearby school, for example, you will see that. We invest on something like that, but we need this kind of concept everywhere actually. So we encourage people to walk, even to go to the mosque, and make this journey the pedestrian. We have to protect the pedestrian, and we have to make their experience of walking very safe and very interesting.
And also speaking about this whole experience, the urban humanization, it sounds like a very, I would say, new kind of field, because the world changed, and by new I mean the latest decades. So how did your interest in this field spark? How did you find yourself pursuing this kind of field?
During COVID-19, where cities are locked down, so people have to live within their neighborhood. Actually, the concept from COVID become very important. And now the international standard for building new cities, they design it for people first, and they change a lot. They change the whole concept of the cities, and they depend on spaces, and make and invest in every space. Now spaces are dead, and if you left them like this, it will be used for a car parking, even unofficial car parking. Correct. So to make these spaces more interesting, we need to depend on, for example, greening, or utilizing these spaces for any purposes, of cultural purposes or even social purposes. So inside your residential place, for example, any place, Yarmouk, Jabriya, Khaldiya, whatever, you will see a lot of spaces that can be utilized and can be enhanced in order to make it very attractive to other people. Actually, working in the old residential building and old residential blocks or areas, it's very difficult because, first of all, these spaces are accommodated by cars, and sometimes people I don't know how can I say it, when they build their garden, sometimes they utilize land that does not belong to them.
Yeah.
And he extend his garden wall until the street. So you will see people are working either in the edge of the street because there is no place to work. So now we need to change the culture and to actually encourage people to not take these spaces, to take only his rights. Even if you go for licensing for your garden, during the municipality, they always keep a space between you and the street, at least 2 meters or 1.5 meters. But I don't see this in actual life. People take this 1.5 meters and take it into their garden. I think this is wrong, and this is affecting the whole environment, and also you are taking the right of pedestrian. These 1.5 meters or 2 meters between the street and your house, it's belong to pedestrian. Let people pass by. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, you're right. I've noticed this myself, especially during COVID, as you said, because I think that forced more people to focus on what was just around them. That's when I got to know a lot of my neighbors. It's when I got to walking outside more, but more in the back alleys, not where the main roads are. It was still street, but it was still able to walk around. And you see a lot of people walking around and experiencing what's outside of their house and in their immediate area. But as you said, there's not enough spaces that utilize everything without going through a road or a crowded street. So are there any other main issues you've noticed in Kuwait that need to be addressed?
Yeah, true. And by the way, Kuwaiti culture support pedestrian and support humanizing city. And all. Now Ramadan is coming, inshallah. And during Ramadan, there is Gargaan, correct?
Yeah.
And guess what? Who's walking on the street? It's our kids.
Yeah.
You see, so and Gargaan as an event, as an activity, is part of humanizing cities. The kids are walking all the neighborhoods and asking for sweets. This kind of activity is kind of humanizing cities. So unfortunately, their experience or their walking is unsafe, and we know that. Actually, maybe in the near future, we need to enhance adaptation and to make our kids, when they do the Gargaan, they do it very safely, and they can walk, and also the kids, they will like it if they can walk not only in Gargaan. During the year, they can walk around the neighborhood, and there is like a playground around, there is a public park around, and they can walk from their home to the third place or public park or any playground around. We need to make this kind of walking is very safe and convenient. And when our kids, I don't know about yours, I'm talking about the early 80s. It was safe to walk outside, and my primary school, I used to walk to my school. I never take a car because it's a walking distance. It's like a 5 minutes walk, and we enjoy walking as a kids. And at that time, it was safe. Maybe in the early 80s, there are less cars in the street. Maybe this is one. And also, people at that time, they strict in their when they design the garden, they keep a space for us to walk. So we walk to our school during the early 80s without walking on the street. And I don't see this now in 2025. I don't see this happening. but there is a big chance actually for new cities, for example مطلع or جنوب سعد عبد الله or any maybe إن شاء الله صابرية, and we are encouraging the public authority for housing that adopt this concept and their design of the new cities, and we need to make our cities more humanized, and we need to in our design we need to put people first. And يعني put more less focus on cars. And this is also related to the code, also the problem with our code, that there is minimum parking lot for any developer should provide. I think this kind of regulations harm the concept actually, and encourage developer to allocate more spaces for cars.
You know, there's I don't know if this is intentional or not. I remember one of the streets in Salmiya where it has, you know, the inner, it's right near the bank on the coastal area. I forgot the city, but when we were kids, the place had inner roads. But now if you go, it's been shut and turned into a park. So we are seeing a lot of movements there happening here locally, and I do hope that we see more of those.
I think, yes, I think the trend, yeah, there is a lot of initiative on this kind. Now it's slow, but I think in the near future it will speed up. You will see, for example, outdoor experience like Muruj, for example, maybe the walk also, and you will see also there is a lot of places that they invest on the outdoor, and they make the design more friendly for pedestrian. We see this kind of project more often recently, and I think the trend is going, and I believe within like 10 years from now, maybe 7 years now, things are changed. And also now people must adopt this kind of things, and they must know what their right and what they don't have the right to. And we need to protect the right of pedestrians and give spaces for people to walk, actually, yes.
I think that's awesome, because cities are for the people in the end of the day. So we should focus on making sure people can really enjoy living their life every day, small activities or big activities. We're going to go on a short break, and then I hope we can dive into this a bit more because it's a really interesting subject. Stay tuned for after the break. Welcome back from that short break. We were discussing urban humanization, and we spoke a lot about the different things we might need, especially in terms of making the city more walkable and people friendly, and not just about the cars. And honestly, this is something I'm a big advocate for, because I love walking and I love to see people gathering in spaces that, you know, are more community based. So I really appreciate everything that you're doing. But I want to ask you, I feel like it's a lot easier in theory than it is in application. So what's it like behind the scenes trying to make these projects happen?
Yes, actually, humanizing city become a necessity, especially in Kuwait. Why? Now, because it's related to the public health. Because if we have lack of pedestrian and there is something called walkability index. If you check the walkability index for our residential areas, you will see it very low, okay? Which is a problem that we need to fix. But this is affecting the public health, and I will tell you why. Because walking is not part of our lifestyle, as the community or as the city is not supporting the facilities for walk. Kuwait is the highest obesity by the in the world. So this kind of problem is related directly because of lack of walkability in our city. And other thing also, there is a common problem here in Kuwait, that lack of vitamin D. Because, you know, even if we design our houses, before there was space, we call it housh, okay, and there is a lot of balconies. Now they make because the new regulations allow people to utilize every spot in the lot land. So all our building becomes home building become like a box. So there is less sunlight coming, and we are not walking. So the lack of vitamin D and obesity become a common problem here in Kuwait. So this is a big challenge, and we need to change that. And now we need to change the regulation. Actually, a lot of developer, as we mentioned, started to for a new project with encouraging pedestrian and investing on the experience of walking. And you see, for example, yesterday the weather was very nice.
Yeah.
And when I call so many friends, everybody was in Muruj. You see, because there's a lot of places in the residential area to walk. So we have to drive to Muruj, or drive to the walk, or drive to a far destination, in order to see to find a place where the experience of walking is very interesting. We need to bring that concept inside our city and inside our location. And now there is a lot of change, and you see a lot of experience in our neighborhood countries. I have seen, for example, Riyadh, Medina Munawwara, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, now Doha as well. They start to adopt this kind of things. And the challenge of these applying humanizing cities, that you need teams in every area, and they modify it, and they need time in order to change happen.
Yeah.
Because you will work in every neighborhood, in every street, and and you will interact or overlap with the people need, for example, and sometimes people resist this kind of change. So the change will happen, but in a smooth way, and maybe slow, but it will happen in the future.
Yeah.
So I'm encouraging Kuwait municipality to start to establish team like that. And here in Kuwait, we have an excellent experience. We call it healthy cities, or مدن الصحية. This is a big project that been handled by the Ministry of Health here in Kuwait. And for example, I believe Yarmouk, Abdullah Salim, and Shamia, they have made a lot of enhancement, and making the city healthier is you are coming near to the concept of humanizing cities. And to do that, they rely on landscape and greening the cities. And if the cities are green and there is a lot of shade, people encouraged to walk and make the city more livable and more walkable, which is that we have seen some changes happening, and I believe in the near future you will see a big change.
Inshallah. And speaking of changes and seeing changes happen, speaking of your role and your expertise as an engineer, what are like the obstacles that you see, especially here locally, that can put up against this kind of changes to the urban infrastructure?
I believe that the main challenge is the mindset of people, and maybe our program is one of the solutions that we educate people and to adopt this concept. And sometimes when they design their homeland or home building, and they design it more than what they need, actually. And if you design your house more than what you need, it become a problem. First of all, you will take a lot of spaces, and this space you can utilize it to make actually the building more humanized. Second thing, you will uses a lot of resources, a lot of electricity, a lot of and there is a lot of pressure on the utilities itself. And because humanizing cities is not only about pedestrian, it's about also waste management. It's about energy efficient cities, so an environment friendly city. Because if you accumulate a lot of resources and there is a lot of waste, it will affect actually the style of life in the city. So I think the mindset of people and how to educate them to change their style of living and to live as their desire for at the level of their need. People exaggerate sometimes actually. So this is one big challenge, and the second big challenge is the regulations and code. We need to adopt this in our standard, and the process to adopting the standard يعني it need a lot of effort actually from the community and also from the government authorities. I'm talking about authority of housing, I'm talking about municipality. These are the main two authority that has to also the disability board of councillor city or councillor of municipality. These bodies has to also adopt. They tried their best until now, and they did a lot of job, a lot of good job, and we need to review our regulations or review our code into focusing on the quality of life, focusing on how to make our cities more livable and more walkable. And change also the regulations also take time, and it's challenging actually. Yes.
No, I can imagine it's pretty challenging, but everything you're saying is music to my ears, because I would love for Kuwait to become a more walkable, livable place that caters towards the people in every area that they're in, not just in the city, because I have seen in recent years that the city has become more of a place people might walk around with, to all the different coffee shops and parks in the area, but that needs to be expanded to the whole country. And I do want to ask you, is it just the policy changes, or do people just need to change their mindset? Or are both important to implement
I think both are important, and I think what we are doing now is part of the solution, and we are participating also to send a message all our audience into spread the word about humanizing cities. And I think if you humanize our cities and make them more livable, there is big difference between staying in a city and living in the city. Staying in a city actually it affects your mental life and affect even your health actually. But if you live in the city, that okay, I don't want to stay inside the four walls, I want to go out, and I don't want to use my car, I want just to walk. And the walking has to be safe, convenient, and also more interesting. If we make this happen, people will go to the street and they meet each other, and we make people concentration in one place. As we mentioned, we focus on third places, we focus on encouraging people to meet, and also culture activity like Gergaan or any other culture. People know each other, and also this will it will change a lot of things on the how we live and the living style. All these kind of initiatives and concepts will reach the target of enhancing the quality of life. The quality of life will be in different level if we adopt this concept and encourage it in our cities.
Yeah, and I think you're doing a very fine job of bringing awareness to this issue. And Engineer Humoud Alenizi, we do want to thank you for coming on the show today and bringing light to a topic that I think is very important to us, especially here locally in Kuwait. Special thank you again.
Thank you, Abdullah, and thank you, Jane. Thank you.
Well, seriously, thank you for joining us. This issue is very close to my heart, and I think it's something that we can all say that we're very, very happy that you're making it happen. And again, thank you for joining us. And we're going to go on a short break. Stay tuned.
And that's it from us, the folks at the Untold. Honestly, was a very insightful episode. I learned so much about the environment, even little stuff that I wasn't aware of, right? Like changing the smallest of things, adding parks, adding playgrounds and everything that can change a city. Magnificent.
I agree. It's honestly a subject that's very dear to me, because I think Kuwait has so much potential to be such an amazing city where people can walk around. And I've been seeing it more in recent years where there are more community-based activities happening. And I do love hearing that we are working on changes to make this an everyday practice for everyone in Kuwait.
Yeah, very well said, Luzain. Thank you for that. With that in mind, it's the end of the Untold. We've run out of time. Until the next one, goodbye for now.
Goodbye, and see you next time.